Hey guys, it's Reddy here with a tutorial for how I paint Space Marine lenses, such as the one on or the ones on this Primaris helmet here. So first off, I'll show you my wet palette that I use with all the colors needed. So from left to right, I've got some matte medium, basically Lamian medium if you use that, then some Mephiston red, then some Wild Rider red, some Evelyn sunset, and then some white and some black. The white you need for the reflections and the black you need for the first step that's coming right up. And I'm thinning down the black a little bit with the matte medium here, or the Lamian medium if that's what you prefer to use. So I've already base coated the helmet grey here, airbrushed it zenithally, and now before beginning to do the lenses, I want to black the lenses out with the black paint. Now, I suggest that you probably should already do your highlights and recess shading and stuff like that before this step, but since this is just for the video, I didn't really bother with that. So I'm just blacking it in and trying to be careful and trying not to put my head in front of the camera. And remember, you can always turn around the miniatures if there's some hard to reach places on it. So that's it. That's done with the black now. Next up, I've taken some Mephiston red after the black has dried, and I'll carefully color in the lens with the Mephiston red. Now I'll try to leave a little bit showing on the outsides, a small kind of an outline. It makes it look more sharp and defined, but don't worry too much. If you mess it up at this point, you can always come and fix it later. And Mephiston red dries a little bit darker than it looks when it's just been painted on, so even if you mess it up, it might look alright after it's dried up. And that's the Mephiston red mostly done there. Next I will mix some Wild Rider red with the Mephiston red and some medium again to make it a bit thinner, and paint a little bit less of it. Now I can see on the video that I left the corner a little bit unpainted previously with the Mephiston red, but this should fix it since we're focusing the paint towards the bottom of the lens and towards the middle of the lens. So we're leaving the top and the outer corner of the lens unpainted as much as possible. Sorry for painting off camera there for a moment, but I'll show you the results here. Looking much better already. Next, as you might guess, just pure Wild Rider red with some medium mixed in again, and once again even smaller area is being painted. You leave a little bit more of the previous two colors showing once again, and just careful painting, not in a hurry, and that's that. Done. Next, again making a mix of Wild Rider red and Evelyn sunset, and again some medium to thin it out. Nice yellowy orange mix. And same deal, even less paint this time. Trying to focus it along the bottom line of the lens and the middle corner there, as I did. And that should be quickly done there. Now for the last color that we're painting into the lens is the Evelyn sunset, and for that we're doing just a tiny drop of a yellow point right in the middle corner, as that's supposed to be the brightest part at least in how I paint my lenses. And that's this part of painting done. Now next I'm going to make a red glaze with Mephiston red, and we use this to start creating the glow effect under the eye. So it's basically a lot of medium and some paint, and I'm showing there on my thumbnail what's kind of a consistency you should be looking for. Maybe even a little bit thinner than that. It's always better to go too thin than too thick, because you can always add more paint to the mix if it's too thin. So now carefully painting the bottom lip of the helmet under the lens to create a soft red glow effect. Now in this step you have to be careful not to let it pool too much, to not create any kind of tide marks, and also don't leave too much in the eye socket, because that might then dull down the colors a little bit that we just painted, although I have a feeling we might do that at some point later anyway. So here's a second layer after the first one had dried to intensify the glow effect a little bit more. Now I'm careful not to paint the top of the helmet, just the bottom, because I feel like that looks better, and that's where it would logically, the light would shine more, since light travels in a straight line. Now next we're making a brighter glaze, this time out of the mix of Wild Rider Red and Evelyn Sunset. Similar consistency, even a little bit thinner actually, and we're painting this in the same way but trying to paint it in a more thin line under the lens. And if you get too much of it, for example inside the lens or whatever, you can always dry your brush up and then use the dry brush to soak up excess glaze, since it won't tint the area too fast. And same deal here, so we're doing another layer, trying to draw the glaze towards the brightest areas of the helmet's lip. As you can see, glazing is actually quite simple. I feel like many people are often a bit afraid to try to do this kind of OSL effects with glazes, but it's very risk-free when you think about it, because you can't really mess up too badly, especially if you make a really thin glaze. Now we're taking some paint that is a little thicker than the glaze, but still a thin paint, and we are doing sort of an edge highlight of this under the helmet lens. And this is once again to intensify the glow effect a little bit. And again I take the model of the camera, sorry for that. I tried to put a cross on the mat there to show me where to hold it, but it's trickier than you think. Alright, and lastly a tiny very thin down dot of Evelyn Sunset, or a short line I guess, in what would be the brightest area. I feel like this came out a little bit bright, so I think after this I went back and glazed it down a little bit with the orange glaze and the red glaze. Yeah, making some more orange glaze and splotching it in there, and I think the first video cuts off here, so it looks a bit silly, but I took the excess off and trying to make the yellow a little bit more orange again with the glaze, and then some red glaze also to dull down the yellow even a little bit more, because it looked a little bit too much like a yellow glow to me comparing to my usual lenses. Bit too much of the yellow there. Now, this is one of the trickier parts in this, so you have to make a tiny little reflection with pure white paint in the darkest corner, so the outer up left outer corner, I guess, and this will really finish the look that we're going for. Now, this can be tricky. It requires practice, but you can always, it's just paint, you can always, you know, paint over and try again. And the issue I'm having here on this video is that I'm using such a small brush and such a small amount of paint, and the paint had been on the palette for a while already, that the paint actually dries on my brush before I managed to dab it on. But I think the third attempt I managed to get a nice neat reflection painted on there. And you know, again, you shouldn't do this kind of stuff in too much of a hurry, so better to take it slow than hurry too much. And that's it. There's our reflection, and there's pretty much our finished Space Marine lens. Hopefully this was helpful to you guys. I know a couple of you asked for this on Instagram. This was actually my third attempt at filming this. So there's 2 other lenses that I painted. I have no idea what to do with these helmets now, since as a Space Wolf player I don't really have too much use for them. But if you have any feedback on the video or anything, feel free to hit me up, and I'm always open for more tutorial ideas if you see something you'd want to know how I do. But yeah, be sure to, you know, follow me on Instagram and subscribe to YouTube, I guess, in case I start making more of this kind of stuff here. And thanks for watching, and see you guys and gals later. Bye.